Today we're testing out another foundation. You guys know that I love to do this, and right off the bat, if there's any foundation that you'd like me to try, I have a few on my standby list, and I've been talking about them on Instagram stories, so follow me there if you don't already. Also follow me on Twitter, because I have one makeup giveaway happening right now, and I have always new giveaways happening. But other than that, today's foundation is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation, and this has not launched in Europe yet. I ordered it off the SEPHORA website, so they do ship here to the UK. And you can also ship from the website, I think, to a lot more countries. But you know, shipping taxes and import taxes can be a little harsh. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the little bell button so you know every single time I'm uploading. And yeah, let's jump in. So this is what the foundation looks like. They've launched not only this foundation, but within the peach range, they launched a lot of products, a new matte palette, eye palette. They launched primer, setting spray, finishing powder, blushes and highlighters, creamy, I think. So yeah, they launched a lot of products, but the one that really caught my eye was this. I've never tried any Too Faced foundation, including the Born This Way, which a lot of people seem to either love or hate. There's no in between. I never tried it, maybe someday, but I want to try this out so bad because it just looks cute. And it's a comfort matte foundation, which is what I'm all about. This one is oil-free. It's 14-hour wear, oil controlling and photo friendly. And it is infused with peach and sweet fig cream. I hope it doesn't smell too much like peach. I've heard it does, but I hope it isn't too fruity, because I don't usually get along with those scents. But the shade I picked, I think is the lightest shade, is called Snow. So let's go right ahead. First of all, this is a tube foundation. It's got like a pump thingy, which I think is very, very travel friendly. But I hope it's one of those where you can get to the end and get all the product out anyway. My hands are so tan right now. Like, why can I be this tan? They look like weird other people hands. So it's not the lightest of shades. And I feel like this would be good for this shade and not this shade. But let's see how it goes. I hope it doesn't oxidize much, because otherwise it'll be too dark. It is quite neutral, I think. It's not too pink and it's not too yellowy. So I'm gonna do half of my face with the brush and half of my face with the beauty blend. Blah, blah. It doesn't smell like peaches. It smells like gummy bears, which isn't too bad. Out of all the fruity scents, I don't love this. I'd still prefer it without a scent, but better than peaches for me. And this side I'm going to use the Bare Minerals Luxe Performance Foundation Brush, that, as you know, is my favorite foundation brush. This is dark for me. I'm going to try not to apply too much, because I know you guys say I go ham right away. That usually is my style. From the swatches, this did seem a lot lighter. But let's see. It has, wait. Is it me, or the more I spread it out, the lighter it gets? Can you see here? I don't know if the camera is picking this up, but here it looks a lot lighter than here. Of course, there's a lot, but weird. See, it doesn't look as bad right now, as dark. I mean, it still is not my perfect shade, but it's somehow not as bad as I thought it would be. I actually am loving this formulation because it's almost like a BB cream, which I love. I love BB creams. I think BB creams have nailed it, like, especially Asian BB creams have nailed it so much better than foundations when it comes to finish. But it still is quite matte, so it's a comfortable matte. What that means is, like, it's not super ultra matte. It's kind of a soft matte finish, which I love. And the coverage is really good as well. This is like a medium coverage, and I've only applied just a little bit to begin with. It doesn't look patchy or cakey. It doesn't look cakey. So I still have a little bit of a rest here. I'm going to go into it and just go over the most pigmented areas. Oh, I'm really bummed that they don't have a lighter shade right now, because I'm loving the formula and finish. Because it is a little bit darker, it does look yellower on me. But it's quite a neutral shade, but just a little bit darker. Let's move on to the Beauty Blender side. You guys know that I usually prefer the Beauty Blender side, with the exception of, I think, the YSL foundation. I'm trying not to apply too much all at once, but it's hard for me. I'm gonna buff that in. The finish is almost the same, to be honest. This is again one of those cases where the finish here is so flawless that I maybe do a brush application and just finish it off with a Beauty Blender just to even things out in the end. But I do love the brush finish. I'm gonna go just a little bit on the pigmented areas. And I hope this does last all day, like flawlessly. Yeah, again, I feel like it's easier to build with a brush because the Beauty Blender just soaks everything up. I'm gonna try just a little on the point of the Beauty Blender just to go over a few spots and around the nose and under the eye. Just gonna drag this down to my neck a little bit because, you know, even when a foundation matches my face, I usually have to go down to my neck. If the foundation matches my neck, it's a little lighter than my face, which I don't mind, but it's hard to find. It does have a setting point though, even though it's soft matte. It's just a little tacky, but it has a setting point that when you get there, it kind of sets down and then you can't blend over it without it being a little bit cakey. So here is the up close. Around the eyes, it's where it is a little more patchy. Here it's especially patchy because I let it set and then tried dabbing it a bit on top, and that's why it's a little cakey. Okay, so this is the type of coverage I achieved with 3 layers with the Beauty Blender, and this is 3 layers with a brush, which is a little bit better. Loving the formula. It is setting a little bit drier now, so I'm feeling a little bit of tightness, but still like not uncomfortable, just feeling it set. Kind of thinking, should I powder this or not? Usually foundations are very self-setting, I won't powder. You know what, I'm not gonna powder this. And we'll see what we get with this. And okay, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup, and then I'm gonna do 2 check-ins as per usual. I'm gonna do the 4-hour check-in and the 8-hour check-in, and we'll see what happens. So just quickly in the time I did the rest of my makeup, I didn't expect this from this type of finish to begin with, but I'm glad I didn't powder because this definitely does not need powdering. It is pretty self-setting, and honestly it's a little uncomfortable. So it's not cakey visually, but it is a little tightening. But the finish is still perfect, just the way it was before. So I'll see you in 4 hours. And I'm very impressed with the finish. A few things I have to say is that it is still tightening on me. So it is quite oil controlling. As you can see, there's barely any oil, just like a light glow that I find really cute. But at the same time, it is a little bit tightening and, you know, a little bit uncomfortable. I think that with a primer underneath, this would work out beautifully. Without a primer, it is a little bit drying, but I have combination skin that is acne prone and very, very dehydrated and patchy. This didn't grab onto the patches that I have. It didn't accentuate them or anything like that. Also, I forgot to say as well that this doesn't claim to be full coverage. It claims to be only medium coverage and transfer resistant. It is transfer resistant. When first applied, it kind of looks satiny matte, but as it dries down, it's matte. It is kind of a medium coverage, so here you can see that I can build it up to a full coverage, but it is actually a medium high coverage, I'd say. But the finish is still pretty flawless. Hasn't been any caking or creasiness. There's 2 types of uncomfortableness for me, which is the tightening dryness. I just feel like my skin is a little bit parched, but it's not like itchy and uncomfortable to have it on. I feel like Honestly, I feel like if I missed on top of this, that would be great. But I don't feel like there's something grubby on me. That's the kind of second type of uncomfortableness that I feel like is so much more uncomfortable for me throughout the day. And I felt that with the Fenty foundation, for example. I felt that it began to be too cakey and oily and grubby at the same time. And I felt really itchy. I just wanted to take it off. And I don't feel that way with this. As you can see, my pores appear to be normal. Like, they're pretty large themselves, so they don't look tiny. But, for example, compared to the Fenty foundation, they do look normal. And there's no oil production there as well. So I really like the finish in terms of glow and matteness. Where I have the blemishes, they look pretty great. No patches, no dryness around them, no halo. Even here, that is usually a very bad place for me cake-wise. I mean, from the feeling I get from the dryness, I would expect this to be cakey, but it isn't. It's actually a perfect finish. Honestly, everything looks perfect. This is like so flawless, and at the same time still very matte. It controlled my oil production like a champ. In the 4 last hours, it wasn't as uncomfortable as in the first 4, so of course a little bit of the oils kind of peeked through. It made my skin a little more lubricated, so it felt more comfortable. But texture-wise, it looks perfect. It's not cakey at all. The product hasn't sunken into my pores or anything. They look rather small. Honestly, I'm definitely impressed, and I'm gonna want to play around with this a little bit more. The 2 cons that I had with it still stand, which is the shade isn't light enough for me, so I have to work it down my neck to make it workable. It's a little bit drying, yes. I believe that this could be worked around with an oil-based primer or a hydrating primer, so I'm gonna be experimenting with that. It's called the Comfort Matte. For me, personally, it wasn't that comfortable. For people with oilier skin, it might be like the sweet spot of comfort while still blocking all the oils out. It says 14-hour wear. I don't know about that, but it is an 8-hour wear. It's pretty much untouched. It works with both brushes and beauty blenders. It has 12 shades, which is not a lot, and the darker skin tones, the jump is like enormous. And that's pretty much it for today, guys. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the little bell button. The next foundation I'm going to test is probably going to be the Ordinary Coverage Foundation, which you have all requested so much. But if there is any foundation that you guys want me to test out, leave it in the comment below. That's it. Bye!